Welcome, Paul. How are you?
David, good to be back.
It's good to have you on here. You had a interesting article here, and it was very interesting to hear what they had to say. Of course, Alex has been talking about this. InfoWars has been talking about this for a long time, but now we see that the mainstream media doesn't want to ignore this anymore, do they? About the LED lights.
Yeah, this is basically a product placement by CBS News talking about these new smart LED lights, which are being rolled out in major cities across the US. Las Vegas last year, also New York's rolling them out. And basically, they touted the environmental benefits of saving energy, saving money with these new LED lights. They kind of gave some token credence to the privacy concerns while skirting around them. And basically, the CBS anchor says that these new smart streetlights, which, as you said, we reported years ago through IntelliStreets, which is a different company introducing them, will have the ability eventually to track everything we do all the time. Because what they don't tell you in this CBS News report is the fact that they can record and store actual conversations. You're walking down the street, the streetlight picks up your conversation, stores it, no doubt, in an NSA database. That's what they didn't tell you in the CBS report. It was basically a product placement for these new spying systems masquerading as lights.
Let's play a little bit of that report here. It's a little bit too long for us to play the entire part of it, but let's play a little bit of that report from CBS this morning.
Should you find yourself in Terminal B at Newark Airport, look up. Those aren't just new lights, they're smart lights, a sophisticated array of LED fixtures with built-in sensors and cameras connected over a wireless network.
Yeah, it's not about saving energy. You can save energy if you've just got an LED bulb, but they're talking about watching you, about tracking you, and they even show in that report, they talk about how they're using it for security in a private corporation's parking lot, and they say this is tracking you everywhere you go. And as you just pointed out, Paul, they're recording it. So I don't think if you're tracking people, you've got all these other devices there and you're recording stuff, that, I guess, really kind of hurts your energy savings a little bit, doesn't it? But it's really not about energy savings.
No, I mean, in the report, they also talk about license plate tracking. So it has very little to do with energy savings and everything to do with surveillance. And, we ask commonly, what is the ultimate goal of surveillance? It's not about the surveillance itself. It's about cultivating the fear amongst the general public that everything they do is under ubiquitous surveillance.
Yes.
So it goes back to what we've talked about before, which is the panopticon effect, what Foucault talked about in Discipline and Punish, which is that those who believe they are being watched will do what is wanted of them, obedient compliance, without even realizing that they're being controlled. And that's the whole idea. It's about creating this compulsion to obedience. It's about institutionalizing the whole idea of, don't stick your neck out, don't talk about politics, don't exercise your freedoms, don't deviate from the received wisdom of the establishment, because Big Brother is always watching. That's the ultimate goal of surveillance, as we've explained many times.
And the real freedom is to say, I don't care. I don't care if you're watching me. I'm going to do it anyway. And that's the attitude that people need to adopt. They constantly are talking about Orwell in this piece. They throw it out several times. And I thought it was interesting that at the very end, where this reporter says to the guy that people heard there at the beginning, this is kind of Orwellian, isn't it? And he comes back and immediately says, well, wouldn't you want to protect your children if this could determine that somebody had a gun on them near a school? So as you're pointing out, they're looking at license plates. They're connecting it to a database. They bragged about how this was going to be a global system. And then at the very end, he's talking about scanning to see if somebody's got a gun on them. And, of course, it's all about the children, isn't it, Paul? They always do that, whether it's destroying our borders or destroying our rights. It's all about children. It's always the beard.
It sounds rather Orwellian.
Wouldn't at least the parents of kids at a school feel better if they knew that there was a analytic that looked for objects that could be guns on people that were coming into the school?
Yeah, there you go.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
It's always for the kids, isn't it? Just like, DHS attaching RFID tags to children because they really care about the kids.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not about, we know what it's about because we've seen the history, we've seen the pattern, we've seen where it's going. There have been studies, for example, Stanford University 1975 study, which illustrated that participants will side with the establishment position on political arguments like legalizing marijuana if they think their responses are going to be seen by authorities. There are other studies which show that writers, are more reluctant to talk about political subjects, 25%, because they fear that it will be picked up in their emails, in their phone conversations with their friends. So a quarter of Americans at least are subjected to this panopticon effect where you self-censor, you self-regulate not only your free speech, but your behavior and the exercise of your freedoms, which of course only benefits the establishment, only benefits the state, which is one of the major reasons why they're rolling out this huge surveillance network.
That's right. You have to get over that hump. You have to get to the point where you say, I'm going to speak out about this anyway, whatever the consequences. And then at that point, you're in. You're in. And now you're free to say whatever you want to criticize this, to speak up for your freedoms.
Alex Jones here to break down some exciting developments in the area of research concerning supplemental iodine. It's nothing less than phenomenal. I began to get into iodine a few years ago because it was helping me and my family so much get healthy and detoxify. And I used some of the mainline iodine supplements and they upset my stomach and I had some issues with it. Until I discovered a product being developed by Dr. Group, who I was already interviewing as an expert on my radio show, and I began taking the product before he actually rolled it out. You now know it as Survival Shield True Nascent Iodine that your body can really absorb. Then, about a year ago, he said, listen, if you think this is powerful, I'm going to come out with rare earth, deep earth crystals that are incredibly powerful that no one else has as a source for their iodine from between 7,000 and 12,000 feet, literally drilled out of the ground. You put it on a hot plate and it turns into the pure gas. No one else has 99.99% pure iodine. And the results that I personally have had have been life-changing. I was over 270 pounds. And with the iodine, exercise, and better diet, I have lost now more than 50 pounds total, and I'm continuing to lose the weight. I have more energy, my libido, all this crap came out of my skin. I believe our research is conclusive. This is the best iodine out there. And I know this for a fact. Nobody else has got iodine based on these pure crystals, ladies and gentlemen. This is innovating. This is trailblazing. And the best part is it helps fund Infowars.com, the radio show, the TV show, the whole media operation promoting true libertarian ideas. For a limited time, experience the ancient power of Survival Shield X2. Take advantage of this unprecedented 30% off Super Detox special at InfoWarsLife.com.